I was just wondering how you're going to be, you know, at 9:30 tomorrow morning.
You can believe it or you don't have to believe it. That's up to you, man. Put a big question mark on your film.
What more is there to say about the cops?
Susan Atkins is 28 now. She's just ended her first 7 years of a life term. She has spent 5 of them here at the County Women's Institution in San Bernardino County. She's just had her first parole hearing and been turned down. But the people who work with her here say that she's made a remarkable change in the last 2 years. They say she's become a devout Christian, and she says she wants only to serve God. Susan Atkins feels that her horrifying experience with drugs can be a lesson to those that use them or think about using them. Today, she says her bizarre behavior was born out of Manson's evil persuasiveness and fed by her constant drug use. During her Manson years, Susan Atkins dropped acid at least 300 times, and she smoked, swallowed, shot up, and snorted every other drug in sight. And although she had no drugs in her first 5 years of imprisonment, she says it took her that long to fully regain her consciousness, to even begin to realize what she had done. She hasn't spoken with a reporter since the trial in 1970. She got word to me that she wanted to talk about the dangers of drug use, that she also wanted to reveal something new about the murders. What happened that night you all went to Sharon Tate's house? What really happened?
Well, I remember getting in the car with Tex and Tex Watson and my other 2 co-defendants, 3 co-defendants actually. And before I ever got in the car, Tex and I had our own special little stash of cocaine. You know, I think it was cocaine or methadone, I'm not sure which. We were speed, and we both snorted some speed and got in the car. We were very, very wired. And we drove to the house with instructions to kill everyone in the house.
From Charlie?
Yeah. And not just that, but that we were instructed to go all the way down every house, hit every house on the street? On the street, yes.
And kill all the people in those houses? Kill all the people
in all those houses. And we went into the house, and I remember that as we went in, a car came up to the driveway, and I remember Tex getting out, and without saying anything, there were gunfire shot. I was in the bushes, and
that's when the young boy Stephen Parent was killed.
He was killed
in the car outside.
Right. The people in the house were all brought into the living room and tied up, and I remember that Wojtek Bykowski, I believe is his name. I had tied his hands with a towel and then was instructed to kill him. And I raised the knife that I had in my hand, and I couldn't put the knife down. I couldn't bring it down. It was just as though there was a force there that held my wrist, and I couldn't move. And as he saw that I couldn't move, then he very easily undid the ties, the towel that I had tied his wrist with, and he and I began to fight. And I remember I was screaming for help, and he was screaming for help, and then Tex came and helped me, and I was left to sit and watch Sharon Tate. And about that time, all I can remember seeing people just scattering in different places and running in different places, and I was left sitting with Sharon Tate, and she was talking to me, and I remember that I had absolutely, I felt nothing. I felt absolutely nothing for her as she begged for her life and for the life of her baby. And Jesus. I remember when we first went in, one of the people said, "Who are you?" And Tex said, "I'm the devil, and I'm here to do the devil's business." And I remember that in my conscience, it's so alive in me, even just recalling it. I remember that I had gone so far and there was no turning back. Even if I had wanted to run, even if I had wanted to leave, I couldn't. It was like I was caught in something that I had no control over. I had absolutely no say-so as to what was happening there. I was just like a tool in the hands of the devil, is the only way I can put it. And I believe that it was by the grace of God that my hand did not go down with that knife on Wojciech Wachowski's chest. I believe that...
Well, who did kill those people?
that night?
Yeah.
Tex. You wanna...
Well, I can ask you now, what did Tex really do there?
Of what I saw happening in Tex, the way he moved, the viciousness and cold, it was just like seeing somebody go crazy with more power than I've ever seen anybody. I don't think he was in control of himself. I think that he was, in their own human strength, could do what Tex did.
Well, Charles Manson was in control of him, right?
Yeah, as far as giving orders, but I don't think Charles Manson's mind was in control of Tex's mind that night. I think that it was a higher power than that. Charlie's human too, you know, and his mental powers are just as limited, maybe not as limited as other humans, but that there was an evil force in control of Tex that night.
Well, it was in control of all of you, obviously.
He did things that, you've heard stories, I'm sure, of people who have lifted up cars off of other people, how they have superhuman strength. Well, Tex had that kind of strength that night. But not for good, it was for evil. So it's harming and hurting people. Just, I only saw him kill those people, and then I've heard later that he has said himself that he was responsible for all the deaths.
At the Tate House?
At the Tate House, yes.
Are you trying to lay the blame off on him?
No. No.
Then what do you think is the point of this?
That the truth be told, that the truth be made known. I tried to take blame from Tex and from Charlie and from Pat and from Leslie by taking and saying that I had killed Sharon Tate and that I had killed Gary Hinman. I tried to take some of the blame and put it on myself because I thought that was my part at that point, and that was a lie. And
in this room were all the survivors of those victims, of yours and the others, their families and their friends. What would you say to them?
Well, about me now is that I'm not the woman that I was in 1969. I'm a new creature in Christ. I've been completely, spiritually, mentally, and almost physically born again, though my outside is not changed all that much. The inside of me has changed. That I love them with a love that I don't think any words that I could tell them could express, but only by living a life that may help somebody else, by preventing maybe somebody else from going down the same road, by preventing other survivors of such a terrible thing, is the only way that I could say what I would have to say to them. I just love them. I feel for them. I feel their pain. I feel their sorrows and their loss. And I didn't feel that years ago. I didn't feel anything for them. But today I still feel pain when I think about her and that she's not here, and I don't think that anything that I could say could ease that pain in any of the survivors' hearts. And only God can take care of that. Only God can give them an assurance that their loved ones are with Him, and I believe that with my whole heart. I believe that those people that died that night are with God and if they're at peace, and it's the only thing that I can tell them. And I believe that with my whole heart. And that by the grace of God, the survivors will also see their loved ones again one day. You'd have to understand what acid does to the mind in order to understand how a person can get confused behind drugs. And I would take a thesis, writing a book on what LSD can do to the mind. But
it was powerful enough to keep you in a fog for all those years, even after you stopped using.
I used to think that you came down off an acid trip after 12 hours. That's not true. Every time you take LSD, the moral fiber of your character, which is put in you, or when you grow up, everybody grows up with different morals according to their culture. Okay, when you take acid, your mind expands beyond these moral characteristics and your concepts of right and wrong. So you step out beyond those bounds, and when you step out beyond those bounds, the imagination begins to take over. And the imagination can be a very deceitful thing. It's a fantasy. And when you take acid, you go out beyond that, you think you're coming back to where you started from. Originally, you don't. And every time you drop acid, you get a little bit further away from reality. And I took so much acid that I just was what I would term spaced. And it took me many years to what I term now re-enter. And that was just through not having any acid and having to deal with reality every day.
Well, you say you're operating from a sense of complete consciousness now and reality. Then looking back from this point for you, what you were and what you did must be terrifying.
Yes, to realize that by my own free will, I willingly got into something that completely took control over me, that I lost control of myself behind drugs and a process of deprogramming, losing my morals.
It wasn't just drugs, it was Charles Manson's persuasiveness too.
Well, yeah, there was a lot of deprogramming that was involved in that. You take away a person's conscience of right and wrong by telling them when they're under LSD or any mind-expanding drug, there's no such thing as guilt. And you've already come to a place in your mind or your imagination where you don't like the feeling of guilt, so it's easy to say, yeah, there's no such thing as guilt. I'll believe there's no such thing as guilt, therefore I can do anything and not feel guilty about it.
Can you understand why many people, perhaps most people outside, are going to feel that you don't deserve parole, that you should never be given parole? You're aware of that?
Yes.
Well, so what if you spend the rest of your life in this prison?
Then I spend the rest of my life in this prison.
Is that thought depressing to you, though?
No, because I know that, how can I put it? I'm content.
How's it come about?
How does peace come about? My peace? Mm-hmm. Well, I found peace through salvation in Jesus. And just knowing that I've been forgiven by God is sufficient for me.
And the fact that you know out there people probably can't forgive you.
Yes.
Has no effect on you?
No. Because they're not the ones that I have to face in the end when I die. I have to face God, and it's His forgiveness that determines my peace.
Psychopathic offenders may be rapists, child molesters, sadists, or any type of sex offender. They may not even be sex offenders, but engage in other forms of criminal or exploitive behavior instead. The hallmark of psychopathy is that the person doesn't have a problem in one area, such as sex, but has a pervasive lack of responsibility as well as a lack of attachment to other people. In this next section, Robert describes behavior that puts him in the category of power and controlled rapist, but doesn't necessarily tell us his problems are pervasive and that he has no capacity for attachment. That will come later.
Yeah, it was power and control. I was grooming her from the age of, it started at about the age of 1. When I was the punisher, I was the one who decided punishment over the children. I was the one who spanked the children. I was the one who punished the children. And if I seen the children doing anything wrong, even bickering and arguing amongst themselves, I would whip them and tell them, you know, just kids playing. I would tell myself, well, she's not going to be like that. She is going to be the perfect mate. And I told myself that. And I didn't molest her then.
The perfect mate.
The perfect
So you were...
mate. I was grooming her to fit me. To fit me.
And at what age?
I started at about a year. I started grooming her, whooping her, and telling her this, to do this, not do that. Then when I molested her at 18 months old. And I thought to myself, I said, well, this is going to be easy. This is going to be easy. I'm going to have my own child, my own stepdaughter, which is really not blood related to me. And I'm telling myself these things, it's not blood related to me. When she grows up to be 14, 15 years old, I will have the perfect sexual mate for sexual purposes. Anything else didn't matter. It was sex. That was it. I didn't care about, really, honestly, I didn't love the child. I wanted the child for my own purposes. I was the one potty training her. Okay? My wife let me potty train her. I potty trained her. And at first when I was potty training her, I gave her a break. Every now and then she could use the bathroom in her pants. But I was setting her on that stool for sometimes hours at a time, telling her to use the bathroom there. She started doing it. She started using the potty, and then all of a sudden I've been doing this for about 3 or 4 months, and she got good at it, and then all of a sudden she would use the bathroom in her pants, and I would tear her hide up. I would actually put bruises on her butt by spanking her by using the bathroom in her pants.
How'd you get a little kid to sit on the potty for hours? That's an awful long time.
Yell and scream, tell her you're going to use that potty, and you ain't going to get off that potty till you use that potty. Have you used the potty yet? No. And you're going to sit there until you use it. And as I look back, I was done that way, the same way she was done.
How would you justify it in your head?
How would I justify it in my head? She's going to do what I want her to do, and that's it. She's going to use the bathroom. She's going to, let's say that I told her that Daddy loves her, and Daddy's going to take care of her, and Daddy's going to give her anything she wants as long as she does what Daddy tells her. I got married at 19, and I kind of like refrained from, or tried to refrain from sexually acting out with any other ladies besides her, because I knew that AIDS was coming out, and I knew that diseases were very frequent. And I started thinking to myself that if I stick with this one girl and just groom her, or one woman, I would groom her and get her to do what I wanted her to do. And eventually she did. She done what I asked her to do. It was no problem. It was a little at a time, and I done it. And I manipulated her and coerced her. Manipulation, coercion, violent behaviors, striking her, get her so drunk she'd pass out, and I'd do what I want to with her. I'd force myself upon her when she was passed out and did what I pleased. And sexual behavior got real out of whack. Yeah, I made her force objects into her vagina. I made her, forced her into watching pornographic material and stating that I wanted to do that certain thing to her. I wanted to have sex with her constantly. This was every day, 3 or 4 times. I would get it, want it as many times in the day as I could get it. And I have got it up to 6 times in one day. And still I did not have enough. I wanted more. It was like a fix. I wanted it. And I did anything I could to get it.
And how many victims did you have total?
I have a total of 24 now. And I'm looking to see if I have any more.
And were these, you said these were all kids except 2?
No. Oh, yeah, well, they were under the age of 18. Most of my victims were the age of 11 to 16.
And how did you get control of them? Was it through force and control and violence?
It was manipulate. No, it wasn't violence. It was more like manipulation. It was coercion. It was like, I'll buy you this. I'll give you that. You know, and treating them like a person, but they were just objects. They were just objects. I was doing anything in my power to get them to give sex up, to give it up. And that's what I used to tell them. I said, give it up, you know. After I would have done, say, groomed them up, and then and they would comply. I would buy them beer, get them drunk, get them high, get them, any way that I could manipulate a woman or a girl, a child into having sex, I would do it.
In this section, you will see the lack of attachment to anyone that suggests Robert is not only a power and control sex offender, he is quite psychopathic as well.
The best way to fool people is to help them, is to ask what they want, ask what they need. Do they need any help doing anything? Do they need any money, or do they need their car fixed? Do they need the grass cut? Do they need their children looked out for? Do they need a job? Do they need anything to get them to think that I am a decent person and want to help? Trust me, I will help. And overall, that was a flat-out lie.
Why do you think makes people so trusting?
What do you mean, as far as trusting?
Trusting you.
Trusting me? Because to trust me, I thought that I could be trusted to a certain extent. But behind their back, no. I would take things from them, steal from them, scope out things that I could steal, just see what I could get out of somebody, just get what I wanted. That's what I wanted. I see something I want, to get somebody to trust me. Like, say if I was to go over and cut this person's grass, fix his car, loan him some money, and then and if I see something I want, like he's got a nice stereo, then, and I would set it up. I would say, hey, well, he's not home at such and such a time. That'd be the perfect time to go get me a stereo. So I would say, hey, he's gone. I know exactly how to get in through the back way. I'll even go into his house and open a window so I can come in here tomorrow and steal his stereo. I was looking out for number one, for me. I didn't have any empathy for anybody else because it seemed to me nobody had any empathy for me. I wasn't going to give anybody any empathy who didn't give it to me. And that was it. That was bottom line. You don't, I didn't have people cry for me or tell me, ask me if I needed anything. Then, you know, I wouldn't use any empathy. I would fake it. Now, fake empathy, like saying, I know how you feel. I've been in that situation before. I've done that and it didn't turn out all that hot. And I would fake it, but there wasn't no empty there. That was just a show. That was just to tell. That was just to get the person to say, well, hey, you know, he seems like he's pretty good fellow. And you know, that was manipulation all the way.